Are we on?
Yeah, where are we, Max?
We're in the fruit and vegetable market in Ramallah. I've done a video on this before for the Real News with the Parachansky, but you can see all of the fruit and vegetables here. Literally almost all of it is from Israeli farms, especially in the Jordan Valley. So a lot of it's expropriated land. Some of the cabbages come from Jenin, but the Palestinian agricultural sector has been completely destroyed by a combination of the Israeli occupation and the Paris protocols that accompanied the Oslo Accords, which basically prevent the Palestinians from having an independent economic base at all. So they're totally dependent on the Israelis, which makes it really difficult to resist occupation. I mean, one of the best ways you resist occupation is by generating your own economy and boycotting, and they're completely unable to do that. It's not their fault. I mean, you talk to any of these guys, they're going to say that we need that this is cheaper and it's higher quality because the Israelis apply lots of pesticides and herbicides to grow more. So it's this is what economic normalization has done. It's retrenched occupation.
And what did the Paris protocols say? Why was that? Why did that foster this this process?
Well, it basically it requires all kinds of economic cooperation with the Israelis. If the Israelis don't reciprocate, so Palestinians have a really difficult time exporting anything into Israeli markets. Meanwhile, the Palestinian market, including Gaza, is the second largest source of exports for Israel. In other words, they're a literally captive market. And so, I mean, if you look at Gaza, the situation is even more extreme. Go to the Goldstone report and read about the Sawari chicken farms. The Israelis attacked these chicken farms in Gaza. There were 80,000 chickens that they killed there, and it sounds like crazy, and a lot of the soldiers were like, why was I shooting chickens all night? There were these terrorist chickens, but there was a logic behind it, which is destroy the agricultural base of the Palestinians, so they'll have to import Israeli chickens, which are, taken from Israeli farmers, and they're given, they're paid for the surplus chickens, and they're sold to Palestinians at exorbitant rates, Israel's their tax collector. So it's a literally captive market, and they have no right to foster any kind of independent economy, and even if they tried, much of the arable land has been placed in Area C, according to the Oslo Accords, so they have really no access to any land to grow this stuff. So
how much of the motive behind this plan was political and how much of it was economic on the part of Israel, or is the two indistinguishable?
The two are absolutely linked. I mean, if you're engaged in a colonial project, one of the first things you have to do, and we've seen this in colonial enterprises throughout history, is eliminate the agricultural sector or the source of sustenance of the indigenous population. Then you gain essentially control over their destiny. Like we went and met with the Bedouins in the Negev, in unrecognized villages, and they told us how their sheep are being confiscated constantly by the Israeli Green Patrol. And that's, you look at the deliberate, systematic destruction of the buffalo in the American West, which presaged the reservation, the project of reservations, where Native Americans were put on reservations as soon as the buffalo were virtually extinguished, and they were put on a diet of corn and lard, which they turned into fry bread, which is now a staple of their diet, and they're plagued with diabetes and obesity because they've been taken off the kind of food that they used to eat. I mean, here it's much more subtle, obviously, but this is a kind of Indian reservation that is dependent on Israel for its survival, and at any second, if these people start resisting, as all occupied people are entitled to do, all this Israeli food, you're not going to see it here anymore.
Yeah. Thanks, Max.